Hi everyone. So I decided I wanted to make a video, or actually it's going to be a few videos about how I personally discovered Jesus and met him. And for anyone who doesn't know me, I was born into a Christian family, amazing parents, but the Christian group that they were in, it started out great, but it kind of turned a little bit cultish. So basically, by the time I was born and raised, the group was very kept to themselves. They didn't listen to any other preachers. They thought that they had like the only truth, that everybody else didn't know the truth that they knew. And just a lot of really unhealthy things they had a very legalistic approach to God and Christianity, and it just got very ugly. So by the time I was growing up in my um, teen years and this and that, also like the girls were married off at an early age. It was thought that you should get married early to keep from getting into trouble. So a lot of weird things that happened, but this whole video series is not about that. Actually, it's about my personal journey into finding God and knowing him, and so that's what I'm talking about here. So I just wanted to give you guys a little bit of backdrop if you don't know um, where I came from. So here we go. So I just remember having this huge imagination, and um, like just I had all the time on my hands ever that I could ever have. We would just play for hours outside. We were homeschooled, and so it just all that's left was just the imagination. And so playing, and I just imagining things. And we had what we learned from our school about pilgrims and Indians, and we learned about planting gardens. I was really into gardening, and and then later as I got older, like I don't really remember much that I did that was very like like godly at all. We had a great life, and we were very sheltered, and I know that God was protecting us the whole time, and so yeah, I'm sure I had a really good childhood, but as far as like knowing God or having any like interaction with him, I don't really remember like anything. And then growing up, getting into like close, 10, 11, 12, 13, I was a huge bookworm. I loved reading books. That's where I got all my entertainment from. We would watch movies every once in a while, but weren't really allowed to. And so like, those were the exciting things. If you could read a book or watch a movie, that was exciting. And then there was everything that the church did. And I was, just as a kid, I wanted to be involved in what was going on in the church, and I liked singing the songs, and I felt happy afterwards, and so I liked, feeling like I was involved and I was a part of something. When I got married, I like wanted to do the right thing, and that's why I initially, made the choices I made. But when I got married and was out of the house, I was only 15, and I realized like I was at home, the women weren't really supposed to work, so I was just at home, and I began to get on the internet and watch things. And like first it started out because I was still a kid, I would get onto like Barbie.com. I would be like just little kid sites, and I would play games, and it was fun for me because I literally still a kid even though I was married. And but then I was started watching movies and then shows and then things, and pretty soon I was watching things I should not have been watching. And my excuse was that I was just I had to know what the world, I had to know how life was. Well, it was so dumb. It's not in deep down I knew it wasn't right, so I had to stop for a moment. But anyways, I would go to church and get convicted, and but I couldn't find any power to stop what I was doing because I'd gotten so deep into it, and I was like addicted to entertainment. I was addicted to watching things. Like, that's where I drew my life from. And just going about my day didn't cut it. Like, I had to have something more than that. I had to have something to fill me. I would resolve to change, and then as soon as the week would hit, Monday would come around, I had almost no strength. Like, I would immediately fall right back into what I was doing, and it was this constant cycle, went on for years and years and years. I remember at one point, like, thinking, like, this is so much fun, like, this is what I feel great, like, I feel great, this is so fun, I love this, like, I loved it. And even though, like, at night my conscience would get to me, and at night I would be unsure about, oh no, if I died tonight I would go to hell for sure, like, and I would feel, then I would start feeling uncomfortable, and I would, oh Jesus, forgive me if I'm blah blah blah, and like all this stuff. But like during the, as I was doing it, I'm just like, I loved it, and I felt at home in it. I felt like this is what I was made for, in a way, like, because I just loved it so much. It felt so good. It felt so great to be filled up on something. So it's just kind of crazy to think that it felt so at home to me. It felt so good. And now I hate it. Like, I can't even, that's not me anymore. So what happened in between then and now? First of all, I can say is that I felt like this is a combination of something that the enemy did and something that God did, but God worked it all out for my good. So like this, I began to, well, first of all, out of a fear of not being okay, at the church, they pound it into you, you better be doing the right thing or else you're in trouble. God sees and God knows what you're doing in secret and all this stuff, and you're like, if you're over here living in secret sin, like, you're not gonna make it to heaven, basically. And so it got me in a bunch of fear. Like, I remember this one point, and I feel like God did use it in a way, even though I don't feel like that's the way that's not the preferred way of, like, reaching people, but, like, maybe that's where I was at. I don't even know. Who cares? God ended up using it. That's the point, okay? So, I just remember being like, I cannot go back. Like, I have to draw a line. Like, I felt like, this is what I felt like. I felt like God told me, like, this is your last chance to make it, to choose me or not. Like, choose now. Stop going through this cycle of repenting and coming back to me, and then not meaning it and going right back into what you're doing before and doing it over and over and over again, because it was going on for years. And because I tried, but I could never, like, stay. And pretty soon it was as if my repentance wasn't even real anymore. It was like, I knew that the following Monday I was going to go back and I was going to start doing what I was doing. So, because I had no strength to stop doing it, really. And so, finally one, like, Sunday, like, I felt like it was, yeah, the words came through the preacher, but I also did feel like God was telling me, like, this is it. This is your last chance. Like, you better choose now who you want to serve. You better choose. This is it. And as if I wasn't gonna get another one, and I was scared. I was so scared. I, like, wrote down in my journal, and I was like, that's it. And from then on, out of total fear, I made a choice that I wanted to serve God and not do these things that, I was feeling condemned for in my heart for doing. And it's crazy because, like, at that point, like, the power of it over me did not go away. Like, I still was tempted, and I still even messed up, and I was not free from it. I was not free from my addiction to entertainment and to all these things that I love doing. So it was very hard. It was, the decision was made out of straight fear, to follow God, because I was so scared of the consequences of not. And also because I really did have a heart for him. Like, I remember thinking, I was reading a Revelation where it says that these people followed him and they were robed in white, and I was like, I want to be there. Like, I don't, you know, like, that just brought me to tears, because I was like, I want to follow him in white. I don't, you know, I want to be there. That's where I want to be. So really there was a war going on in between, you know, the seed that was planted in me and everything else in me that wanted, you know, other things. So yeah, I made that decision, but yet the power of the sin wasn't broken over me. So I went along struggling for a while, and still struggling with that, very much so. And eventually one day, it had been probably 5 years before it truly broke, like 5 years of being in it, because a friend had told me, like, she was like, well, one day I just asked God to take it away from me, take the desire away from me, and then he did. And then it just left. And I was like, that's a great prayer. Like, I never thought to pray that. I always just tried to get rid of it in my own strength, and I always tried to do it, like, thinking that God wanted me to do it, but I never thought to, like, ask him to take the desire away. So I was like, I'm going to pray that. So I did, and I prayed it a few times, because at that point I was sick and tired. I was sick and tired of being bound to this thing, and I wanted it gone. Like, I really, really did. And so I just cried out from the bottom of my heart, like, please, like, take this away from me. I don't want it anymore. And I meant it with all my heart, and because there was nothing in me that still wanted it. And I prayed it a few times, but it really did work, guys. Like, I remember what happened. This is what happened. This is amazing, okay? This is so amazing. So I would go, like, walk past the computer, and, like, that temptation would come, and I would go gravitate toward it for a second, and all of a sudden, like, this love of God would come over me, and I felt like I love God so much. Like, I love him more than I want to do this. And I was able to just walk away. And then again, like, I would have to get on the computer to pay a bill or something, and I would, again, like, the temptation would come, and again, like, as soon as I was, like, about to give in, or just, you know, struggling, the same thing would happen. All of a sudden I just feel this love for God, and I thought, and I just, like, oh God, I love you so much. And it overpowered the temptation to get on the computer and do whatever I wanted to do. And it happened over and over again, guys. It happened over and over again, and the temptation still did come from time to time, and eventually it began to break, though. The power of it broke. That's how it broke. Every once in a while the temptation would come back, but by then I had struggled with this for so long, there was no way I was giving in at that point. I was like, no. I violently refused. Anytime, like, I turned tail and ran, like, because I struggled with this for so long. Like, it had defined me for so long. Like, 5 years is a long time when you're 15. Okay? So from 15, I can't remember, it was like 15 to 20, I guess, somewhere around there. That's how long I struggled with this. So that's a quarter of my life already that I had struggled with this, and I was that had defined me for so long. I thought I would never get out of it, and now that I was getting out of it, there's no way I was going to go back in the world. It sounded horrible to me. So I turned tail and ran every time. Like, in my heart, I ran away from that temptation. So eventually that thing broke over me. So now, at this point in my life, I was just left with, it was like me and my kids and life, and it was like our church, whatever they were going through at the time. It's not raining out anymore. Oh, it is, never mind. So then it was kind of this place of a little bit of dullness, because now I wasn't doing that anymore. But life was kind of dull. Like, you know, I wasn't getting fed by this thing anymore. But I was kind of in this, like, nowhere land of, like, okay, now what? Like, I got rid of this addiction, but what do I do now? Like, life has kind of plain and boring, and I don't know what to do. I'm not going to go back, but I don't know how to do anything else. I don't know how to go forward. It continued on like that for a little while. 2011, I would say maybe a few years passed, I'm not sure. But then we come to the next part of the story. I'm going to get off this video and start a new one for that.